Hi everyone, welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Spend Less, Scrap More. And I have to tell you, I wrote down that title to make sure that I said it right each time. I am showing you this sketch here. This is another free sketch by Scrapbook Generation, and I believe it was from, again, March of 2020. Whatever it just said, I wasn't paying attention to the video. So it calls for circles that are 2 3/4 wide, and I looked at all my punches and I looked at all my dies, and the closest that I could get was this one, and I believe this one is 2.5 inches wide. So I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to work at this point in time, but I went for it. And I kind of show you a little bit of the process here of cutting them out. So you can see that even this blue, I really wanted to use some of this blue pattern paper, but I didn't have a lot left because it was the gnome paper on the other side is the gnomes that I used for the last layout, so I used a lot of it. So I'm going to kind of play around, and you can see there's like 2 of those blue circles that are kind of half cut or whatever, and I'm going to hide those behind the photo and you won't even notice. So this sketch does call for 3 photos, and I only had 2 of these photos, and I'm going to tell you, I love how this layout turns out, and I'm so happy. I've had these pictures of my little boy. I guess he's not much my little boy anymore since he's 15 now, but these were from 2008, and I don't know why I've never scrapbooked these pictures. No, you know, I wasn't saving them for the perfect paper or anything like that. I just really like these pictures, and I thought that this would go good with this collection, these photos, because they just, I don't know, the sayings and everything like that, I just really liked it. So you can see me there, that 1 square photo, I do believe I kept. I might have trimmed it just slightly smaller than 4x4. I can't really remember, but I'm putting those 2 blue pieces so that when the photo is down, they will get hidden behind the circle or the photos, the pieces of the blue. So I'm going to be honest, when I try to do grid layouts and anything like that, it usually comes out totally crooked, not straight at all, no matter how much I try, no matter how much I use my ruler. This one didn't do too bad. I tried measuring a couple different places and putting little pencil marks you might have seen me do, and I am using my T-square ruler. So I'm also using this Tombow adhesive. It's like removable until it's, you know, it's been on there for a while and then it's permanent. So I do play around with a couple of the circles, and I like using this adhesive for something like this because you do have a little bit more flexibility than the ATG when it comes to putting them down. So you can tell that a couple of them here, I'm going to just move just a hair because it looked to me like it was really off, but it's not as off as I thought it would be. So that is the layout. And I did choose to put that 1 photo instead of on the top. I kind of wanted it to the right. I don't really have a reason. I think I wanted it just a little closer to the title and to the other photo. So, but you could easily just put it in the top, or any of the circle spots would work, you know, other than the one that is going to get hidden behind this photo, obviously. But you can see it works out really well with those 2 blue ones because it's completely hidden those extra little spots. And I'm really glad about that because what I had for pattern papers, I tried playing with a few different things and it just didn't look good. It needed that little tiny bit of blue in there. So that red one, looking at the layout now, seems very prominent at the top of that. And at the time, I didn't even notice that, but looking at the camera, it does seem very prominent, but by the end of this layout, I feel like it's not. So you will just see how that kind of gets fixed as we go. And I kind of wanted to play, you might have seen me in the last video, I tried pulling out some of the white acrylic, and I'm going to pull out this color binder again. Looking for a title, I have this acrylic word happy, and that is from Lizi Studio, and I was looking at my blue. These are blue thickers. A lot of us have these. I've just put them in this binder kind of just so I know where to go for titles, but I wasn't finding the word. I really liked this word happy, and I really wanted to use this word. It was a little bit thick, so as much as I love Lizi Studio, their acrylic pieces can sometimes be just a little too thick. And so I'm just looking around. I did pull out that one sheet on the right hand side because it has different, those are kind of chipboard more pieces on that sticker sheet up there, whatever you want to call that. And there was one word on there, I can't remember which one I was thinking, but I thought maybe of using that. So I finally decided, and I thought about it, I like the word, I wanted it to say, you are my happy. You know, just these photos, that's what these photos made me think of. You are my happy. He was always such a happy kid. And here's all these little letter stickers. So, you know, the Tim Holtz, I think one of the very first sticker little binder alphabet books he came out with that was nothing, these things, it was nothing but words, right? Well, I found the word you. And I was like, are you kidding me? I had none of the other ones. I'm looking, honestly, I'm looking at this book to see if I could cut the words are and my from any of the other thing. I went back, I'm looking at all of my little phrase word stickers here. So I finally gave up and decided I'm just going to print it. And it actually worked out pretty good. I didn't really size anything. I just kind of picked a size, picked a font, and called it good. I think I am going to ink the edges of this. I do, again, I have inked all the edges. I did it off camera with my black close to my heart ink. Any black ink would work. So I put the you are my and the word happy there for now. I wasn't exactly sure that I wanted it to be that, so I am going to work up on the cluster. So if you refer to the sketch, she did have some banners up here in the top right hand corner. And you guys know me, banners are a little bit harder for me to use, and I wasn't really sure. Luckily, again, I had some of this blue pattern paper, and I wanted to use it. I thought about the red to see if I could use that scrap. You know, at this point, I'm trying to really salvage as much as I can of the scraps, you know, because I only have, I wasn't super worried about using up the papers, so I don't want you to think that. However, I have this new banner punch, and it cuts a good 1/2 inch off of your banner. Just be aware, this is a great banner punch, but it does cut a good 1/2 inch off your paper. So I'm going to recut these pieces, and I'm going to add 1 inch on. I didn't know about the 1/2 inch thing, and that's probably not even exact, but I made them like a good inch longer than what the sketch called for or what I wanted them to be. Because my circles were smaller, they didn't fill up as much of the layout as it did, so I didn't want super tiny banners up in that corner, if that makes sense. So here I cut them down. I cut them to be a little bit like about 1 inch wider, and when or excuse me, longer. When I went to put them on there, that's kind of how I knew that maybe it was maybe 1/2 inch that it must cut off, because I'm going to end up cutting another 1/2 inch off again. But that's okay, because the way they were the first time was just way too small. So I'm going to use my little grid mat here, and not really my ruler or anything, just to kind of get them straight. I kind of just lined them up the way that I thought that they would look good. Luckily, again, I still had enough of that scrap piece of the blue paper. I do use the banner, or excuse me, my ruler here to make sure the banners are all the same length going down. A lot of times, if you wanted to make them layering over each other in different lengths and height and stuff, I think it would be just fine. But I felt like since the circles were all very linear, and that the banners would probably look good, you know, if they weren't all kind of wonky and all over the place as well. So there, I just trimmed them up, and I'm going to add a little bit more inking since I had pre-inked them as well. And again, I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't think you can see the phone in the screen, but I am kind of still trying to deal with the school at this point. I think I either made this layout that same day or the next day. It must have been the next day. I don't really know, but definitely now we have everything figured out, so that's good. The you are my word that I put out, I wanted to go a little bit on the photo and a little bit off. So since the photo I popped up with foam tape, I'm not sure if you saw that, but I really wanted that photo to stand out, and so I did add foam tape behind half of the word you are my, or that word phrase. Same thing with that rainbow. Now, when I was completely done and just looking at the rainbow now, which is several days later, I do wish that maybe I had put it to the left just a tiny bit, because it does kind of take a little bit away from the photo, which was totally not intended, but it's still really cute, and I'm still super happy with the way this layout turned out. So there was also this border sticker, and again, I'm trying to use up as much as I can of this collection, you know, to see what I can get used, and I decided to try to see what it would look like underneath the title, and I really rather liked it, and it goes a little bit underneath the photo, and I didn't purposely mean for it to go right to the end of the word Y or the letter Y, but that's how it ended up. So I am actually quite okay with that. And because I had that little strip there, I decided to cut a little strip to go up in the cluster with the banners. At this point on the sketch that I don't know how well you can see the sketch now, but there are some flowers up there in that corner on the sketch itself. And when you're looking at a sketch, they just use any shape as representation. So don't think that just because there's flowers there, you have to use flowers. They use different shapes to represent, you know, clusters on your layout. But I didn't know what I was going to have to put up in that top right cluster with the banners. So I did add a little bit of that border strip up there just to see, and it kind of pulled that border strip from the bottom to the top. So it worked out pretty well. So then I thought there were some flower stickers left, and I really wanted to get them used up. I have the flower. You know, this is an all boy page, but I'm going to add these flowers around. This part here, I think I really love. So there was a couple of these little tulips, and I really wanted to use these flowers again, not just because I'm trying to use the collection up, but I just think they're really pretty little flowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blue tulip, and I cut off the left-hand leaf of that blue tulip, and I kind of tucked it so it looks like it's coming out from the word Y. And I wasn't sure about this cluster, but when I finished the cluster, I really liked it. So then I'm going to put the, what is it, pink or red? Let me look here. I have my layout here. I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to add that one next to, it's pink. It kind of looks pink. And I think I cut off the left-hand leaf of the pink tulip too. So it just looks like there's two little tulips growing out of that word happy. And I really like it. And another thing that I did, which I've mentioned in a lot of videos, but if you're new, I'll mention it again. I took some foam tape. When I like to put flowers down, and when I put them down, so for like the tulips, for example, I put foam tape underneath the actual flower part, and the leaves and stems do not have foam tape. So it literally looks like they're kind of growing out of the word happy when you look at it in person. So all my flower clusters, I usually do the same thing. I put foam tape on the outsides, whether it's the leaves on the outsides or the stems on the outsides. And then the middle part, a lot of times I might add a glue dot if it's a sticker just to help it kind of stay flat. So I did that, and then I'm adding a few words around. I don't have any journaling to go on this page. And you can see the sketch up there in the top right has a lot of journaling strips around, and I didn't feel like I had to add those, but I wanted to use some of these phrases. It says the little things, the simple life. The one I have up in the top right hand corner says believe in magic. They were just really fun sayings, and I liked the way that they looked kind of underneath the word happy. And I'm not worried that it might look like the title says you are my happy, it's a little thing, simple life, you know, and be this big long title. I don't really worry about things like that, because honestly, whoever looks at this is going to look at the photos, maybe see the word happy, and that's all they're going to pay attention to. I bet you if I showed my husband this right now, he'd say, oh my gosh, look how young he looks, you know, and not even care about the rest of the stuff. So definitely make this process into something that you're enjoying and not worry about what other people are thinking of your layouts. So now I have, however, the flowers by the word happy, and I added a little flower cluster by the rainbow. So I was trying to, there wasn't really any flowers that looked normal to putting up in this cluster with the banner. So I had this little scrap. It might have been from one of the banners that I cut wrong. And so I just fussy cut really quick this little tiny flower. And again, I'm adding some flat adhesive to the middle of the flower and a little bit of foam tape underneath the leaf. And so it's got movement to it. And then I also have added in each cluster, so up here by the flower and then by the rainbow, I added a white heart acrylic piece. I want to say, looking at the thickness of it, that they are also by LE Studio, but I'm not really sure if they are or not. So I wanted to add the date, but I also knew I didn't want like a super dark black date, and I didn't want to use gray. I don't know, no reason why. So what I'm going to do is second generation stamping, and that is when you take your stamp, ink it up, stamp it off once on a scratch piece of paper, and then stamp it on to your actual layout. And it turned out to be perfect. It worked out perfect. It's like this very subtleness down there at the bottom. So at this point, I'm looking at the layout. I really like it, but I felt, you know me, I am just on this mode of mounting almost all my layouts. If there's something like this and there's not a lot going on in the, you know, on the layout itself, which there is a lot going on, but there's so much white space on this layout. So I was kind of looking at my Petite Prints by Doodlebug. I was kind of seeing if there was any kind of the tealish blue color, maybe add that around. Just so you notice now that red, I have added some red. So like this word phrase sticker here that's by the umbrella, the rainbow. I did add that word, sorry, let me start that again. That word phrase sticker there, that's red. And then on the bottom underneath the word happy is the word simple life, and it's red. So that brings that red color around the page a little bit so it doesn't stand out as much. When you look at the layout, you might be drawn to look at that big red circle, but I don't really care. Does that make sense? So I did go digging in my cardstock and decided this is just a random piece of cardstock. It's textured cardstock, so it must be old because I personally do not like textured cardstock. And I just wanted a teeny tiniest bit of it to show around the layout. So I'm going to use my little trick. If you're new here, I like to take Scrappy tape and tape all around each side, and then I will remove the backing from only one side until I get my layout straightened and where I want it to go, and then I will push that one side down, and that's enough to hold it while you add the rest of the sides, and it really helps to get your layout on there straight. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like layout number 2. Here are some close-up photos. Having trouble with the camera and taking the close-up photos, so I hope that they are okay enough quality for you for now. But all right, let's move on to our next layout. I will see you guys next time. Bye.